different medicines and plants and of the time, and is a kind of like a recipe book, and as well as maybe something on astronomy or such, but they just don't know. It's a mystery, and it may not ever be solved in our lifetime, because they've been working on it now for over 100 years, and they haven't solved that yet. But in today's reading, the Apostle Paul talks about the revealing of a mystery, that God was at work, and that he finally, all of a sudden, tipped his hand and said, "This is what I am doing right now. And here is the full revelation of what I'm doing." And the great mystery began first with the Jews thinking that they were the ones that had the Word of God, that they were the people of God, and that everybody else was outside of the kingdom of heaven. And it was us, and it was lowly old them. And they continued in that tradition for thousands of years. And then, lo and behold, Jesus Christ appears, the long-awaited Messiah. And he ministers, and he shows forth something that for 4,000 years people didn't fully expect. And it's always interesting to me that the people who claim to know the scriptures the most were the ones that totally missed Jesus. It was a common folk like you and me that got this message and said, "Oh my goodness, this is the Messiah." And that when he died on the cross, the curtain was torn. He uttered the words, "It is finished." The ground shook. It even says people came out of the tombs, and holy people walked again in the city. A significant event occurred. And lo and behold, something that had never entered the minds of anyone came into being. That God was at work to redeem all humankind. Not just the Jews, but also those dreaded Gentiles that we as Jewish people wanted nothing to do with. And this was a great mystery that took time for the church to comprehend. Think about in the book of Acts of the vision that Peter had of when he saw all kinds of animals and God saying, "What I have called clean, let no one call unclean." Well, the application there certainly has to do with Oscar Mayer bacon and our enjoyment of that. But it goes far deeper. That when God spoke, think of yourself as being on that sheet, being shown to Peter. And God declaring you and I as clean. And that no one should declare us as unclean. The great mystery and the great revelation that we have is that this gospel message is available for you and for me. And that it is available for the rich, for the poor, and take any other label that you want to have. The gospel message is available. And it is in the design and in the work and in the plan of God to carry that message forward. Sadly, many people who have carried that message forward have done so in a way that isn't anything to be proud of. The message of Jesus is not to be spread with a sword or a gun, but sadly it was. Instead, the message of Jesus is one of love and forgiveness, of of healing, of light and wholeness. It's about transformation. And I think that so often when people think about becoming a person of faith, they think of the word confession. I'm going to say some words, I'm going to make a profession, but it goes far deeper than that. We are called not only to confess or to profess, but we are called to be transformed into the image of Jesus Christ, to show the sacrificial love, to bring forth the good news, even to people that we think may not deserve it, to be agents of grace and messengers of grace. Here's the other great mystery that Paul shared. And he said, it's not just amazing enough that God has this deep mystery to redeem mankind or humankind, but the mystery is even so deep and so great that it involves me. I'm not only on the receiving end of the love, but I'm also on the receiving end of having the opportunity and the call to be a messenger and to be involved in the work of Christ. And this is the highest calling that all of us can accept in this life. Now, many of us, when we think of the world and the mess that it's in, we think about what in the world can we do to make a difference. The story is told of two people who were walking along the beach one day, and there were many starfish that had come up and that were now laying on the beach, and they were without number. And one of the individuals kept bending down and picking up the starfish and throwing it back into the ocean. And this continued for several minutes as they would stroll along. And his partner said, "Why are you doing that? You can't possibly make a difference here. Look at these vast numbers." And the individual bent down and picked up a starfish and said, "I make all the world of difference to this one, don't I?" And then he put it back into the ocean. We can make all of the difference to the people in our world. And we do that, and we are a part of the mystery and the commands of our God when we participate. When we not only freely receive the love of God for ourselves, but we also freely share that love with those around us, and that we encourage other people to come and to taste and see that the Lord is good. It's quite interesting that Harry Truman told the story that as vice president for FDR, he pretty much had very little to do. He'd show up to work, and occasionally he'd have to, attend a function or something. But he was not involved in really the workings of the government, even though he was the vice president. He was pretty much a figurehead. And he, all of a sudden, one day, at the end of the day, had heard somebody running down the corridor to meet him. They grabbed him and they said, "FDR has died, and you're now the president of the United States, and we need to get you sworn in." Shortly after he was sworn in, he was taken to a place where some individuals sat down and they said, "We need to tell you something. We have been working on a weapon that we think can end this war." Here he was, the vice president of the United States, and he knew nothing about the Manhattan Project and the construction of an atomic bomb. God's love should not be a well-kept secret. God's call upon your life should not be a well-kept secret. We are invited to participate in this great mystery of the unfolding plan of God to carry forth in word and in deed the message of Jesus Christ for the healing of the nations. And every day that we read or watch the news, we are reminded that we have much work to do. But let us not be overwhelmed by the enormity of the work, but let us be comforted in the size of our God, of how great love is, how light chases away darkness, and how we can make that difference one starfish at a time. May we seize the opportunities to show the love of Jesus Christ today, tomorrow, each day. For the need is great, but so is the love, so is the blessing, and so also is the one who has called us and is faithful every step of the way. Amen.
Amen.
Our closing hymn is number 673, God be with you till we meet again. reminder, if you have not done so, please take a moment to sign both of the cards that are just out here on the table. Now, dear saints of God, beloved of God, saints of God, hear these words. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Go forth in the peace and in the power of Jesus Christ, and play your part in the unfolding mystery of the love of God for yourself and for this world. Amen.
Amen.